Welcome everyone, Nika here on Tuesday afternoon here, hot day in Chicago with your daily neuro nugget. And you need to grab a drink for this. Maybe you need something a little bit stronger. I have lemon balm tea. Thank you, Theodore, for this tea. I love it. We're gonna get right into it, guys. We have no time to waste. I suppose I should start this video with a freaking trigger warning because, look, I'm tired of this BS, okay? I'm tired of people getting sensitive all up in here, like, oh my God, leave the girls alone, okay? So yes, we're gonna be talking about Dylan, who in my personal opinion, these are my opinions, my theories, my conspiracies, if that's what you wanna call them. We are open-minded individuals up in here. A lot of us, I think, have high IQ. A lot of us up in here. We do. I know we do. So smart individuals, what they do is, you are more open-minded, I am more open-minded. We're going to question the two people that were at the home when the crime was taking place. And every time we look up more information regarding Dylan and regarding Bethany, it just makes you wonder, were they scheming? Were they plotting? What were they up to, right? At the very least, we can ask questions. What were they up to? Because now we know that Dylan was video calling her dad after the crime. And I'm like, okay, we need to talk about this suspicious phone activity. Let's expose this stuff. Because when you have Dylan and actually Bethany as well, with all this phone activity right after the crime, well, we're gonna ask questions, okay? To me, my opinion is that Dylan and her dad, okay, they're very suspicious to me. The legal documents state that on November 13, 2022, Dylan and her father, his name is Brent, which I'm sure you've seen, had incoming and outgoing text messages, right? They also had incoming and outgoing Snap message artifacts. They also had voice and video calls conducted via Snapchat and the native phone dialer. And this is me reading right off the legal documents, right? Creation, modification, and deletion of multimedia files such as images and video. And not to trigger the sensitive individuals, but I remember a college student mom saying that pictures were going around before the cops were even called, and that her daughter had pictures sent to her, right? She had also said that the whole town knew by 9 a.m. Now, I was not able to verify that. This was just one of the college student moms that said this on a YouTube video. I can't recall who the creator was, but now we have this information that Dylan was not only creating these files like images and videos on her phone, basically the early morning hours, right, when the crime or right after the crime had taken place, but also deleting things. And we're not supposed to question that? You told us that you were frozen in shock, that you were so afraid for your life that you couldn't call 911. You were so frozen you couldn't call 911. But here we have all these legal documents saying that you're over here video calling your daddy on Snapchat. Boo. I'm gonna ask questions, okay? I'm gonna ask questions. The legal document also says application usage logs showing when specific apps were opened and closed, and also internet browsing artifacts and data showing access to particular websites and internet-based services, right? Now, the first thing that comes to mind is, what kind of parent doesn't tell their child to call 911? Or even call 911 for them if you're in another state. Because again, at the time that Dylan was communicating, at the time that Bethany was communicating with the family, was around allegedly 7:30 a.m. Okay, this was hours after the crime had taken place, right? And you are supposedly still frozen in shock, you're supposedly still terrified. So one would assume that you probably mentioned that you were afraid, or maybe that there was a masked intruder. What did you mention to your daddy? What did you mention to your daddy? And if so, why isn't daddy calling 911? Or why isn't daddy telling you to call 911? That's what I would do as a parent. That's what I would do. Now, let's be honest with each other here for a second. A lot of people are not tech savvy, right? And a lot of people falsely believe that Snapchat deletes everything. There is this saying, and I actually have Snapchat. I use it for the stupid dog face filters because it's fun, right? For the kids and blah, blah, blah. I don't actually really, I've never used Snapchat to interact with humans, but from what I've heard is a lot of people who want to do things, be sneaky, maybe cheat even, they believe that Snapchat deletes everything, right? Which is the reason that so many people use Snapchat, right? Per AI, they use Snapchat due to the disappearing snaps and chats because they disappear after they're viewed or after a set time. But they don't actually get deleted, people, right? They don't actually get deleted. So it just makes me wonder, is this why Dylan resorted to using Snapchat? Because if so, she's a silly goose, right? Dylan, babe, did you assume that by communicating through Snapchat that no one can see what you were doing? Is that what possibly could have went through Dylan's mind? Bro, Dylan, you use Snapchat for video chats, Dylan. You used Snapchat for a voice call, but you were supposedly so afraid of a masked intruder that you decided to video chat. Make that make sense, people. What happened to Frozen in Chalk? Right? You couldn't call 911 for help because you're too scared, but you're obviously not scared enough to video chat with your dad. Like, I'm sorry. It's a little sus to me, right? And then to top it off, you're deleting images and videos. What the heck were you so worried about deleting that you had to go, according to the legal documents, and delete this? What were you so worried about that you were browsing the internet, right? I want to know exactly what Dylan was looking up. What was so important to search on these websites if you were supposedly so afraid, right? From my point of view, it sure looks like Brent and Dylan were talking about an awful lot. And at the same time, let's not forget Bethany, right? Because we, myself included, emphasized Dylan quite a bit, but Bethany was also there. Bethany was also trying to call her dad and her mom. And then she also called the home phone number on top of calling both of their cell phones. To me, that appears frantic as fudge. It appears frantic. What are you talking to your parents about if you're so scared? Did you mention the intruder at all? I'm sorry, but I personally don't think that any college student who just had supposedly a whole day of binge drinking and partying wants to talk to their parents that bad unless there's something going on, right? I hope that the parents get called as witnesses. I mean, put yourself in the situation of these females. If you're on the phone with your dad, like, I don't know, he wasn't concerned about the safety of his daughter. You didn't call 911, Brent? You didn't tell your daughter to call 911? By the way, did the parents even get questioned about the content of these calls? Because it sure is not looking like it, which again points to this failure of an investigation. Don't get me started. I mean, and I know I'm gonna get this. Oh my God, it's so common for people to use Snap for communication. It's so common. First of all, that's not the point. That is not the point. The point is that they were terrified. They were frozen in shock, but didn't call the cops. Instead, they took pictures, took videos, created them, edited, changed things, and then deleted them. And then they called Eric Gower, the driver, right? And then their parents, and then they called their parents, and then they called mom, and then they called dad, and then they video chatted, and then they video called and messaged through Snapchat, right? Deleting images, deleting videos, but also, personally, my father would not know how to use Snapchat, right? Maybe Brent is up to speed with this newer technology. I guess Snapchat has been around for a little bit, but still, right? And I want to end this with a friendly reminder, right? Like I said yesterday, guys, all the data in any app or on the internet just doesn't go away. It never goes away, okay? It's all very, very retrievable. So be on your best behavior, babe. And yesterday, I also mentioned, if you missed the live, that yes, the government does track everything that you're doing. And if you're watching certain things or typing certain things, even in this comment section, in all comment sections on all websites, babe, you may just get put on a watch list. So yeah, be on your best behavior because Big Brother is watching. And I'm telling you, as a veteran who literally fought for our freedoms, like freedom of speech, but they still track this. So yes, Teresa, the internet is forever. And what's funny is that there was also this huge thing that happened with the app. I forget the name of the app that Edward Snowden had created. You guys remember the app? Yeah, it was supposed to be top secret. Nobody can decrypt it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, even such a massively encrypted app was broken into, basically, was hacked. So Snapchat, kids, if you're watching, kids, yeah, cheaters. I know that Snapchat is a big thing for people who are cheating on their spouses. All of that can be retrieved, people. So stay safe, my friends. Now I'm pulling up the chat to hang out with you guys for a little bit before I have to go. How's your day going, by the way? Hello, Alessandra. Hi, Shelia. Sorry. Hi, Big Plan, Soto City. Hello, Alma. Hello, Laura. Good to catch a live. Thank you. Welcome. Allie says, finally caught alive. Welcome. Hello, Don. Hi, my pal Sal Vintage #1. Hello, welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, Linda, Teresa, Rebeb, Z Callie, Prepping Resources. Was there actually a revenge factor by not calling the cops? Yeah, it's a theory, right? It's very possible. Hello, Linda. She was the one probably sitting in the chair. She was probably sitting in the chair doing the pictures and films who told everyone had to be someone that was in the house. Wonders deep as one, possibly. There's a lot of questions that have been answered by other questions. This case is crazy. Now, let's talk about this because yesterday I talked about the 4chan, right? Like the 4chan was very weird. We were like, it's a little crazy in the beginning. We didn't pay too much attention to it because we can't put all of our eggs in one basket, right? But now, so much of the 4chan is true. And what is concerning to me about the conversations that were had and the videos, the video calls that were made by Dylan to her father and by the images that were images or videos deleted by Dylan according to this legal document, going back 2.5 years now, the fact that a mother of a college student mentioned in the early days that pictures were being passed around, that even her daughter had received a picture, and that everybody knew what had taken place by 9 a.m., it makes it really effing suspicious. And by the fact that things were mentioned, that people were watching the crime take place, or they were looking at really gruesome pictures of what had taken place at 1122 King Road and had paid the $6 for it, it just makes you wonder, right? My pal Sal Vintage, welcome. Very sus, wonders deep. Linda, never consider that. Hello, thinkers think. Unspoken heart stillness says there was no frozen in shock, pure BS. And yeah, for people that are going to be defending Dylan, saying, well, she never said that, you know, we've never heard her say that. You know, what she said was it was put in her mouth by law enforcement. Okay, but it was still indirectly said by her through law enforcement, right? So yeah, I cannot wait for these two women to be questioned. We need to stop calling them girls. They were not girls, they were grown women, okay? And I'm not saying that they were involved. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that they probably know way more than they're saying. Wonder Seep, college students calling parents on Sunday morning, 7:30 after being up all night after drinking so much. Nah, something else was going on. I agree. Linda says, talk about failure of investigation. Somebody just posted DD driver is being evicted and her case got changed to 625. Same court, same judge as BK. Interesting. And they were lawyering up by 8 a.m., right? Lori Scott says, I don't understand why some of these people aren't sitting in a cell. They were cleared before the investigation started. It's sick. That is really, really weird to me as well. It's just a little strange, right? It's just a little strange. Nika is dressing up all fancy for us today. It's hot here in Chicago. Yesterday was like 100 degrees or something. So, cooler than yesterday, but still hot. But I'm glad you think this is fancy. Thank you. My shirt's falling off. I need to eat a burger probably. So thank you guys for joining me in today's live. Make sure that you let me know what you think about Brent Morinson. Let me know what you think about these video calls between Dylan and her father, Brent. If you think that that whole thing is shady, leave a 1. If you think that maybe Dylan was just, oh, you know, I just want to talk to my dad, and you think that Bethany was like, let me just call my mom or my dad and then call the home frantically for no reason, leave it 2. No judgment here. This is a safe space, babe. Just stay respectful in the comments. So leave a like to support the channel. Make sure that you guys are subscribed. Make sure that you are signed up to receive notifications because these lives are very random. My work schedule is very hectic and you don't want to miss them. So thank you guys. Stay tuned and I hope to see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.